What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pure Buckets podcast. I am joined today with my two other co-hosts. My name is Cole.
My name's Vipin.
I'm Rohan.
And we are the Pure Buckets podcast. We discuss many different basketball topics, really anything NBA related. It could even be like up-and-coming draft prospects, current things right now. And the topic for today, at least, is we're going to be actually ranking every single team from the trade deadline within the last month. Actually, I didn't want to do just the trades from the trade deadline because there were some that happened like a couple of days prior that were kind of big that we'll get into. But yeah, so we're just here. This is a brand new channel, and we are really doing this because we all like really love basketball, and it's not like a super serious. Like we're gonna have we have a TikTok and stuff. We'll link it in the description. But it's not like anything crazy. We don't have a super rigor upload schedule or anything. We're just gonna be uploading. We're gonna be aiming for once a week, kind of just uploading whatever day we can. And yeah, it's always gonna be NBA based. We'll have guests on from every now and then. And if you guys have topics or just like you want to be a contributing factor to like a list that we do in the future, leave a comment down below or just shoot me like a Discord DM if you're in my Discord, or just really anything. Email even works. So
We have some socials linked in the channel.
yeah. We have my Twitch link, got Vibin's Twitter, and then Rohan is
And
an abominable snowman.
Yes.
Rohan does not use social media.
Rohan's a Discord man. So that's basically where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're pretty. I would say, by the way, just before we get into it, I would say we're avid NBA people. But I would say we'll go around real quick and say our own experience. My thing is like I'm a big. I look at the highlights. I look at like the achievements. I look at the numbers and everything like that. But I don't ever actually sit down. At least recently, have sat down and watched a bunch of games.
Yeah, I'd say I'm somewhat similar. I love stats, like any kind of stat. I love looking at stats, like crazy stats, like just really any kind of stat regarding a game of basketball. I don't have that much time to sit down and watch a bunch of games, but I still do enjoy watching games from time to time. Obviously, highlights are great. I mean, yeah, that's personally for me. What about you, Rohan?
Well, my knowledge of basketball might be a bit obsolete right now because I don't know. I haven't been keeping up to date with games and stuff. But if I was going based on like what I look at in like a player, I'm probably like a mix. I mean, I look at the highlights and I look at like the stats too.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say more like just how skilled the person seems at basketball would probably be like the main factor for me.
Yeah.
Rather than just numbers or stuff.
Which
even though they
I know is completely true what he just said, because a while ago we ranked our top 10 players of all time.
We did do that.
And it's kind of controversial, but Rohan did put in Kevin Durant into his top 10.
Yeah.
Based off purely skill.
We won't go any further than that because we'll actually probably make a revamp.
Probably do that eventually,
we'll make a revamp like top 10
quick
list all time.
Proof to what he just said.
But yeah, so Rohan had Kevin Durant in there somewhere. So,
I'm not a big fan of legacy,
yeah, not a legacy guy. Without, I guess. Oh, and then by the way, just for PSA, Vipin's a Rockets fan, Rohan's a Rockets fan, and then my team's in order is Hornets, Rockets, and Pelicans is like in the order. So, but we're all Rockets fans, but I'm more of a Hornets brother.
Hornets.
He just loves losing, He just loves.
I love losing. I love losing. So yeah, I guess without further ado, we'll just hop into the ranking of every single team and what the trades they have made, if they have benefited greatly or it's just, as the bottom tier says, absolute trolling, mate. So yeah, the 5 teams you do want to say, the only 5 teams surprisingly that haven't made a trade this season overall is the Warriors. Obviously they don't really need it. The Grizzlies, obviously they don't really need it. The Bulls, they were interested in Miles Turner, I heard a couple of reports, or some other players like that, but obviously he stayed at Indiana, so Bulls ended up getting nothing. Timberwolves and the Lakers were the 2 surprising ones. I feel like the Timberwolves didn't really. The Lakers definitely, because obviously the way the media highlights the Lakers,
right? Lakers. Alright, I'll just me. I'm a mega LeBron fan. LeBron sexual, whatever you call me. It doesn't really matter. Mega LeBron fan, right? And I know Cole likes to call me a Lakers fan. This is not true. I'm a LeBron fan. Right, whatever team LeBron's on, I guess I'm just I'm just with that bandwagon, I guess. But listen, the Lakers have got to be one of the most fraudulent teams I have ever seen. It is just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, okay, they were I know for a fact they were going for a trade, but let's be real. Who in their right mind wants Russell Westbrook?
I know.
No one. Like he's a massive contract. He sucks balls. He just no one wants Russell Westbrook right now. Also, people, Taylor Horton Tucker, he does have value, but it's not as high, I guess,
Mm,
as the Lakers expected. And I don't think they were able to get any actual deal
Yeah,
done because
it's like
no
that.
one wants either. No one wants Westbrook, which is what I guess the majority of
maybe
the
maybe
Lakers
they're
faction
just
is centered around.
hoping. Maybe they're just hoping the team eventually gets consistent
Yeah,
if they play more.
I guess because that's I actually said this the other day. I don't know who I said it to. I think it was Vipin Lewis, who's probably gonna be a future guest, by the way. I said, although it sucks that the Lakers didn't make any trades because they definitely needed to make some moves. I feel like. I said I hopefully because they kept the team together, that it's kind of like a confidence boost. Because LeBron actually did come out and say it was like a. That's why I said the fog actually before we started. He said there was like a fog in the locker room because the trade deadline had everyone like kind of like down and stuff. But
Okay,
the
but
fact
like,
that everyone stayed, I think it might be a morale booster. Maybe like especially Westbrook can get back into his form.
okay, but
The
that
Westbrook
fog,
cycle.
like, do you see how AD played recently in the game against who they lose to? The Blazers?
Yeah,
Didn't they play without Westbrook?
yeah, they had no Westbrook, and it was
They had
LeBron and
Westbrook had
AD.
like back tightness or something, so Westbrook was out. And I know a lot of people were like, thinking like on Twitter I saw they were like, oh yeah, it's gonna be AD and LeBron. Oh yeah, that's like the OG duo, right? The OG Laker duo.
Yeah.
Like OG, but like right when LeBron joined, it was LeBron, AD. That was the one that won a chip. And everyone was like, oh yeah, if these two can do it, then we obviously know Westbrook is the problem, which we suspected. But no, it didn't work out like that. They
Yeah.
actually lost to the Blazers, who are in rebuild mode. Dame's not playing. They don't have CJ McCollum. They don't have anyone.
Yeah, we'll get
They
to
have
we'll get to all
Anthony
that.
Simons, but
Yeah,
just depressing, bro.
whatever. So yeah, the Lakers and Timberwolves are just whatever because they're basically. I think people forget about the Timberwolves. They're both playing teams right now, so we'll leave it at that. All right, so we'll hop in here and we'll actually get to the discussion of the day. And the first team we're going to be looking at is, surprisingly, because the fan base was in shock that they didn't make any trades actually on the day or a couple days prior of the trade deadline, is the New York Knicks. And the only reason they're on here is because of that trade that happened just less than a month ago. And it was the trade that they acquired Cam Reddish in. And everyone on Twitter was freaking out. They're like, oh my God, this is huge for the Knicks. Cam Reddish, they got a steal basically out of it, which I agree with. I would say like Kevin Knox hasn't really been a player. You know, isn't he like the Fortnite jacket guy on draft day?
Was that him?
Yeah, that's Kevin Knox. And so
Kevin Knox is like not meaningful.
yeah. And then they get rid of a protected first rounder, and they got Cam Reddish. So that was great, right? And I was like, it's a big win for the Knicks. And so if we were making this video at the time of that trade, we probably would have said, if you're looking at my screen, we probably would put the Knicks like here, like good improvement. Because that would have been a good improvement, because that's a good place for Cam Reddish and stuff, and the Knicks have been kind of down. But now we're like a couple months in, and Tom Thibodeau, the head coach, is just not playing this brother.
Feel like
So like I don't really know
something
how to
must not
feel.
be fitting. Something must not be fitting with the Knicks system. Cam Reddish, like if you look statistically with how he was playing and how he's playing, he was averaging like 12, 2.5 rebounds and like 1 assist on Atlanta, and he played like 23 minutes a game, which is pretty solid for a younger player.
Yeah.
But now in New York, he's playing 11 minutes a game.
He only played 6 games so far.
Exactly, 11 minutes a game, 6 games, and
Yeah.
he's only averaging 5 points a game, and the rest are just negligible stats. Like, he's not playing well, and he's not playing at all. So it's kind of hard to see what's.
And
you
that's
know?
because it's not even like a. But you said it's like a fit thing. There's like Tom Thibodeau came out and he actually said like, "Yo, like I'm not like he literally basically said like I'm not playing him," kind of thing. And there's
on
history to
purpose,
that.
right?
There's history to that apparently with Tom Thibodeau. And I was like, I don't even know what to think because the people now are people upset, and that's what the whole thing with the Lakers. They were actively pursuing Cam Reddish, but it never went through. So, Ron, what do you think about the Knicks?
I mean, regardless of if they're not playing him, they didn't really lose too much out on it, I
Fact.
would say.
It's true.
And I mean, I guess it's still like an improvement over, I don't know, Kevin Knox.
Yeah, but they basically gave up, like, screw the Kevin Knox, and they also got in the document they also got Solomon Hill and like a relevant second rounder, which don't matter. It's basically just the fact is Cam Reddish worth getting rid of a first rounder? It is protected, but is it worth? And right now the answer is obviously no, but that's just because Thibodeau isn't playing him. On paper, I think this is a good improvement. But what do you guys think will put the Knicks off to start the list?
Definitely not a downgrade. It's kind of like they got like at the worst, did nothing change.
I think it has to be either one of these two. It has to either be a good improvement. On paper, it's a good improvement. But how it's gone down so far is this kind of whatever. Like, nothing's actually come out of it.
When did this trade go down, by the way?
Like, I think it was like January 19th, around that.
Okay, so we've had like a little under a month, and he has only played
He's played 6 games, and he's averaging like 11 minutes.
All right, my personal opinion, I would place this in the whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it would
Because
just be whatever.
Okay.
I don't think they improved like at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they got worse though, cause like they gave away Kevin Knox, who not very good at all. A protected first rounder, which is, which I guess might be
but it's okay.
more significant later on, but it's
Yeah.
protected, so it's fine. It's just there's like no difference. Like
no difference.
This current Cam Reddish is basically whatever
Like
Kevin Knox was
he
doing
could
earlier.
have been better, but I just don't think they fit him in
Yeah.
correctly.
Kevin Knox in New York was playing worse.
Yeah.
He was playing well in like his rookie year, I guess, but he's just kind of degraded, like getting worse and worse.
Yeah, he's not like, I don't think he's actually doing anything in like practice or
Especially-
anything to show the coaches that he's actually worth playing time.
On New York, he played worse than like the last time he was on New York, the latest time. He was playing worse than Cam Reddish is right now.
Wow.
So they didn't lose much at all.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I agree with you. I was thinking about putting in good improvement, but I'll agree with you for the whatever. So move on to the Atlanta Hawks, and the Hawks' only trade is the same one with the Knicks. But I feel like it's a different story with the Hawks because they got rid of a talent in Cam Reddish, and they got rid of like Solomon Hill, second rounder or whatever, and they got Kevin Knox and a protected first rounder. So what do you guys think about the Atlanta Hawks trade here?
Definitely a downgrade. Definitely a downgrade. Okay, this trade is linked, but like the Hawks and the Knicks situations are just different, right? The Hawks are trying to like contend. Not contend, but like that's every.
That's weird.
They
though,
got
they're trying to
pretty.
contend.
They've gotten pretty far before.
They're not even a playoff
It's
team
just-
right now.
I know, but that
But
was
yeah.
like last season they
Yeah,
went
they got
far.
to the ECF, bro.
Exactly. So from that, you'd expect that they were going to be going into the season trying to contend.
Yeah.
Well, and then they just give away. They practically gave away Cam Reddish. Like what? The return is like nothing.
Mm.
What? Protected first
Yeah,
rounder.
the
Okay,
first
that-
round-
The
the
Knicks.
first round is worth more than
fleeced
Kevin
them, bro.
Knox.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the Knicks absolutely fleeced them.
Yeah.
Cam Reddish was actually something on the Hawks. He
was a good fit
look up the
that
stats
they
real quick.
just gave away.
So do you think
He
this
was
is
a good
do
fit.
you think this is just a downgrade, or you think this is like this actual this fleece was like a literal troll? Like, do you think the Hawks kind of trolled and they just gave up? They were like, whatever, and they just gave it up for no reason, or do you think it was just like we know it's a downgrade, but do you think?
To be fair, are they like they're aiming for playoffs, right? But is it like
Yeah, well, the
borderline
Hawks,
right now?
the Hawks and the Knicks are both aiming for playoffs, but they're respectively the 10 and 12 seeds right now, with the Hawks being the 10 and then the Knicks being the 12, and the Knicks are only like what, a game and a half, 2 games behind the Hawks. They're both like playing teams, so they're not comfortable. They both have losing records. It's really it's an awful situation right now. If you'd like for those two teams.
Honestly, this
I
probably
want to say
is.
like
This probably is trolling for me. Yeah, I think it's trolling. A team that went to the conference
Trolling.
finals last year
Mm-hmm.
barely
is
making it to
somehow
playoffs.
not even in the playoffs right now, and they traded away a younger piece that they had.
Yeah.
Like
so-
you have to realize the Hawks are a young team.
yeah.
Trae Young is young. I blanked.
There's only 2 old dudes on the team, and that's Lou Williams and Gallinari. Everybody else
Who's
is like young.
Who's the forward?
For who?
The
Oh,
guy who dunks on
DeAndre
NBA, I
Hunter?
forgot his name. No.
Wait, the forward. Oh, John
John
Collins? Yeah,
John Collins, right? John Collins is pretty young. The whole team is pretty young, and they give away a young asset for a much worse young asset and a protected first round. That just doesn't go like along with what time frame the Hawks are on right now.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
would
it was
say-
a good direction to go for.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Where based on their situation.
All right, so a final verdict here. Vibin, you said it's literal trolling.
That's just.
I think I
trolling.
kind of agree because they could have gotten so much more.
That's fact.
Rohan,
Yeah.
you agree? Okay.
Yeah, no,
could just-
yeah, that's a troll.
Like, there's no way no one else would have offered like even a bit more for Cam Reddish. Like, no way.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen. They really trolled themselves. I don't know what they
Well,
were thinking.
Yeah, they didn't even have to really accept it if they didn't want
Like-
to.
Like, what was the point? What did they think was gonna happen with Kevin Knox? Like,
Oh,
he was
I
already
don't know,
playing
man.
like trash.
I think we're talking about Kevin Knox too much. No cap. That brother is a bum. I'm here to say that
He is
brother
a
is a
bum.
bum.
They're the first rounder. I guess they
Yes,
wanted a
it's
first rounder, but like it's protected. So like realistically, what does it mean?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Whatever. All right, so
Maybe,
we'll
yeah,
move
we should
on
move on.
to the first team that was a little bit more actually like towards the trade deadline, and that is going to be the Denver Nuggets. And what the Nuggets did was they picked up I would say a role player in I still don't know how to say his brother's name. I thought it was always Burn, but it's actually the R on the wire swap. So it's actually like Bryn Forbes, I guess, or maybe it is Burn
Yeah.
still. I don't.
I thought
It
you were gonna
seems-
say
it
No,
seems
it
like
is.
Bryn Forbes to
The
me.
pronunciation is Bryn. So it's Bryn Forbes, and they got rid of Bobo, PJ Dozier, and like some irrelevant like 400 years down the line second round pick.
2028.
I think. All right, so this is. I'll just say my opinion out the gates. Although it is a role player and he's not anything like you guys might not know about Bryn Forbes, I personally think this is a good improvement.
Who were they? Were they trying to like? Who was their car? Who was like before this trade? Who was their like shooting guard?
I could pull that up. Well, the whole thing. Okay, so the issue with the Nuggets right now is remember the whole debate is that like Jokic is like actually carrying this team right now and he's keeping them in the playoffs. Like they're in the playoff picture right now. And the whole thing with the Nuggets is because, you know, Jamal Murray's out and then they had like all these other injuries. They were like, dude, we have no depth. Like if you looked at like their bench, it's horrific. And so they needed some like actual backup power. And the thing is that like, they have Will Barton, but Will Barton was injured. Obviously Michael Porter Jr. has been out the whole season again. They just signed him on a mega extension. So that's taking up
extension was
huge cap.
unbelievable.
Oh, by the way, there's another thing I actually did forget because it technically wasn't a trade, but it happened with the traded line. The Nuggets also got DeMarcus Cousins.
That's meaningless. I'll be real with you.
Yeah, but you see that stat? He got it was like his first game and he got like ejected.
No
Or something
way.
like- yeah, he got-
Seriously?
yeah, or something like that, or he got like a hella technical fouls within like the first couple of games. Whatever, it's something ridiculous. But yeah, so the whole thing with the Nuggets is that they had no depth really, because I mean, listen to these point guards right now. They have Facundo Campazzo, who I'm not even gonna lie. Do you guys even know who that is? The Campazzo guy. He's this
Heard him.
he's this Argentinian player, and he's like a second-year player, okay? And he's just like, if you watch him play, he does like these crazy highlight reels of like these passes. He does like these crazy like in between the legs on people and stuff, like megs them. He's hilarious to watch, right? But Lewis sent me a stat actually earlier, like last season, or it was this season, but it was last year, and it was by the StatMuse account on Twitter.
Yeah.
And Facundo Campazzo, out of every single NBA player this season, has the worst plus minus in the league.
Oh my god.
So he's one of their point guards. They have a Monte Morris, and then they have Bones Highland, who just dropped my favorite player the other day. But so yeah, those are their point guards, okay? And then their shooting guards obviously is just Will Barton, who's actually pretty good. He's like their second or third option this season, no lie. But now they get Bryn Forbes in the lineup, and Bryn Forbes is like a 10 points per game scorer. He's like 40% from three, 39, whatever.
I think this is great. I think this is a good trade.
Yeah, I mean, what
Yeah,
they
it's
lose? They got rid
solid
of Bol
improvement.
Bol,
They
who
gave
does
up.
nothing because they don't.
Bol
I mean, Bol
Bol-
can
Yeah.
be something. He can be something, but they don't use him.
Bol actually, like, you are overrating his potential. I'll be real with you.
Mm.
I think I watched a video a while ago. Someone's like, "Oh my god, this guy's like gonna be the next big thing in the NBA." He's just like undiscovered, like unknown. No, this guy. I don't think this guy will ever be an all-star.
Ron, what are your thoughts on Bol Bol?
Will he even? Will he ever even get solid playing time, bro?
I think he will because we'll talk about him later because obviously if he got traded from the Nuggets, then he obviously ended up somewhere. So we'll talk about him in a moment. But
Well, I don't think the Nuggets would be like a good team for someone like Bol, but
yeah,
I don't know how much. I don't know how much there is in the statement that he's gonna be the next big thing
yeah, no.
No, that was just
before he's
going.
even really played that
They
much.
didn't lose much at all. Like this is just a solid trade, I think.
Yeah, I think it was pretty solid.
Whichever team gave, like they traded to Bobo too.
Mm-hmm.
And before
Uh,
that 2028 second round.
I assume that they want younger players, which is exactly what Bobo
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Second round pick is is not much, but it's not nothing.
Yeah,
Jokic is a second round pick.
yeah, facts.
Obviously, that's not every
2028
second round pick's gonna be
second
like Jokic.
round.
But yeah, so Bol
Why is it
Bol.
so funny?
Wait, what'd you say, Rohan?
Why is that in 2028, man?
I don't know, dude. But so yeah, they got rid of
far
Bol
away.
and then PJ Dozier, if you guys don't know, is just like a point guard, I think, and he's just like he averages like 5 a game. He hasn't played much this season, or he's like a shooting guard. He hasn't played much, but.
I would say this is like probably.
So I think
it's
it's either mid because it's just Bryn Forbes, or it's good.
It's not nothing though. It's I think.
Like,
Well,
do you
okay,
think Bryn
where's the way you
Forbes?
classify good improvement?
And does Bryn Forbes increase the Nuggets' chance to go to the playoffs?
Probably.
Really?
Okay, then. So
Nothing crazy.
It
though.
adds depth.
nothing
It adds depth.
it does.
yeah.
It adds depth.
Nothing crazy.
It adds
He's just
depth.
a role player, right? We can't like expect him to do it. He's just a role player.
Because Bryn Forbes is just a better PJ Dozier, and then Bobo wasn't playing because I don't know if you know this, but Bobo was out for the whole season with an injury. And then it's a second rounder, like 400 years in advance, so it doesn't really matter. So I think this is a dub.
Yeah,
It's
I'd say it's a good
probably
improvement.
a dub. It's
Okay.
better than the Knicks trade.
I don't think it's I don't think it's mid. It's not whatever. It's definitely like something. It's just not like people need to have their expectations in check when they like
Yeah.
talk about this because like you just can't expect a role player to completely change the situation. He's not going to, but he's definitely gonna make them a better
Yeah.
team.
All right, that's enough Nuggets talk. We'll move on to this one. I'm gonna get through all the details for you guys real quick. It's the Spurs. So the Spurs actually, I think
Yeah.
they made either 3 or 4 total trades they were involved in. None of them were crazy, other than I would say one was actually a little bit brazy, but we'll touch on that in a moment. So here's what the Spurs did for this trade deadline. They picked up Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, Tomas Satoransky, and they got Goran Dragic, but he's expected to just do a buyout, and he's probably gonna sign somewhere like the Mavericks. I think is like the lead right now. So and then they also received, as you can see, hella picks. They got this season's protected first rounder from Boston, a 2028 first round pick swap with Boston, a 2022 first round unprotected from Toronto, a second rounder. I don't know if it was from Boston or Denver. It didn't clarify. Another second rounder in the future from Utah, and they also got cash considerations. So, which is good for the Spurs, I think, because the Spurs are obviously in a rebuild. We haven't seen the Spurs do a rebuild in so long. As they're like obviously one of the most
Ever.
winningest Yeah, are they like the winningest franchise ever right now in NBA?
Ever. Yeah.
All
Right now,
Yeah.
but like in history. Yes.
Yeah. So they are obviously looking for a rebuild, which I think this is a good. I mean, they're getting some picks, and the one that stands out to me, which you guys might, I don't even know if you guys know this, but they traded, like they got the Goran Dragic trade. Which I don't know if you guys been keeping up with the Goran Dragic situation this season or no?
Not
Particularly.
really.
Okay, he was because basically he wasn't even playing. Like he was on the Raptors and he wasn't playing like in any of the games. And then there was he was seen like he was seen in a different city watching an NBA game, like during one of the, yeah, it was just whack. Like he wanted to leave clearly, so they traded
That's
him.
funny.
But the Raptors traded Goran Dragic and in this year a first round unprotected pick, and they gave it to the Spurs.
That pick is actually mad valuable.
Yeah, for a
Wait,
Spurs rebuild team, I think it's mad valuable. Even though the Raptors are probably gonna make the postseason this year, so it won't be a lottery pick. It'll be like 15 plus.
It will still be something.
It's
though.
still something because it's the
Yeah,
Spurs.
it's still something.
You didn't even give up that much for it. You barely give up anything for it. That's just a W.
And the Spurs also history-wise have one of the best like rookie development camps. I think.
They're great at drafting too.
Yeah, like Manu and stuff.
Yeah, they don't draft really bad.
Yeah, so I think it was just really interesting because they picked up. I mean, they got like what Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, like those like Satoransky and Langford are like. I mean, I would say Satoransky's a bum. Langford's just a young dude, and then Josh Richardson actually isn't that bad. And then they just got a bunch of picks. And then here's what they got rid of. They got rid of the big one was Derek White, and Ron, I know you might not know who Derek White is.
Not.
Which is okay. Derek White was like, it was actually he's not like he's a pretty good ball player, I feel like, and he was actually when he got traded the other day, you know, DeJounte Murray, the main Spurs guy holding the keys to the franchise right now, tweeted and he was like in disbelief that they traded him. I think they were like brothers or something.
Bro is flabbergasted.
Yeah,
Oh.
Derek White this season for the Spurs averaged 14, 3.5, 5.5, and a steal. So it's not bad. He was actually, yeah, he's actually pretty good. And they got rid of him though. They traded him to. We'll touch on that team in a moment, but they got rid of Derek White, Thaddeus Young, who I don't think was playing, Drew Eubanks, who's just some white power forward, the Bryn Forbes dude, because they traded him to the Nuggets, and then Juancho Hernan Gomez. They only had him for a month. Which doesn't matter. And then they also got rid of like some second round pick from this year. So what do you guys think overall? We probably shouldn't have to spend too much time on this. What do you guys think about the whole Spurs thing?
Replace it.
I'd say it's a good improvement.
I would say it's a good improvement.
That
as
pick
well.
is valuable. They received some decent stuff, honestly. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I was actually like, you know what? I was team mid. But then it really is just that. It's that Toronto
There's so many-
unprotected pick for this season.
Yeah, there's so many picks.
There's so much
as
stuff
well.
that could come from that pick, and especially knowing the Spurs and how good they are at like drafting and like developing young talent.
Yeah.
I really think that pick is probably gonna come out huge. So I think this is definitely a good improvement.
Yeah, because they shipped. We'll talk about it in a moment, but they shipped Derek White to Boston. So that from Boston alone, they got Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, and then 2 first-round picks
Yeah, that's a solid return.
and a second rounder, which is crazy. But that's what I mean.
And
That's what I
picks
think. Derek White's
exactly
pretty
what
good.
a rebuilding team needs.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly what
perfect for them.
But
So
yeah,
I'll say,
they kind
I'll
of
say good. I'll say good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if they rebuild.
So we will move on to the Celtics now, and we just talked about them. They actually just received Derek White. They also got Daniel Tice, home Houston boy that we were rocking with for a little bit, and they also got an Orlando 2023 second rounder. That's all they got though. They got Derek White, who's like a good shooting guard now, role piece. Is an improvement over Josh Richardson. I feel like in that lineup, he'll correlate with Tatum and Brown. I feel like really well. And but they got rid of a lot when you look at it, because obviously it was
the
that
list's huge.
it was that Spurs trade, because they got Derek White, so they got rid of Richardson, Langford, who they were developing for a while, and then they also got rid of the 2022 that protected first round pick, and then a pick swap in the future with the Spurs. All that for the Derek White trade. But on top of that, they also did a trade. They also got rid of Juancho Hernan-Gomez. Doesn't really matter. A future second rounder, some cash. But then they got Daniel Tice from Houston, and they traded Dennis Schroeder, Bruno Fernando, and Enes Kanter, or Enes Freedom. My bad. But I don't know. I think it's just weird. I think it's weird.
Yeah, that's a weird. trade.
Celtics are in such a interesting spot, right? If you look at, are they even a playoff?
Yeah,
team
I think they are. The Celtics actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know
They're
this.
the 7th seed. They are the record 31 wins, 25 losses. I'll be real with you. It's just they're in a spot where because I remember a few years ago they had they had a crazy amount of talent on that team.
Mhm.
Kemba, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown. I'm
Kyrie.
forgetting his name. I'm talking about after the Kyrie left. It was who was
Al Horford.
Gordon
as the
Hayward.
Center. Oh, Gordon Hayward. Yeah.
Gordon Hayward. Because that was just a crazy amount of talent on one team. Too much talent,
never
probably.
panned out.
They made it. Didn't they make Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, they made the playoffs every year.
Yeah,
Obviously, LeBron smashed them, but that doesn't matter. It's just now they don't have that. They lost most of that talent. Now they're obviously left with the two drafted star players, which is great. They're really good. It's just I don't think I don't know. They just don't have anything going for them besides those two.
You know,
Who else is?
you know, it's actually crazy. I actually was just looking at the Celtics page right now, and I looked at their roster. They only have 12 people on the roster, and 2 of them are two-way players.
Yeah,
So they only
they're
have 10
very
people
trained.
on normal contracts, and they only have 1 point guard. It's Marcus Smart.
oh no.
Who's playing backup then?
I mean, probably just like Peyton Pritchard, who's like everyone in Boston, I think, actually loves Peyton Pritchard. But this is the thing with the Boston, is that it's not even, they're weird because they have such talent with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And everyone, I feel like, expects them to do good just because it's like Boston and they have those two. But you look at Boston's roster, and they're actually, it looks like they're just in such a developmental phase, and they're all really young other than Horford.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to reset after they had that crazy playoff runs. Now they're kind of in the dumpster, so they're kind of resetting a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely not trying to contend because they can't. So they're definitely not in a win now mode. They're definitely not doing that.
Ron, what do you think about the Celtics right now?
I don't know. I don't know about this trade.
You think
I
it's a bit of a
actually
weird,
don't know.
You think it's a weird deadline for them?
Well, no, I just don't know what they're trying to do with the trade.
Well, they got. Well, that's the thing that bothers me because Vipin just said there's no way they could be in a win now. But the trade, like I'm looking at this trade
Yeah, the
on
trade
paper,
looks like they're
and-
trying to win
and you
now.
think, yeah, it looks like they're winning now because they got rid of a bunch of picks and they picked up Derek White and they got back Daniel Tice, who was like with the Celtics like the year before, like he came to the Rockets.
I guess you could say that is their intention, but that doesn't help them
like-
at all. Like, that barely helps them. That doesn't do anything. What does that do?
It's one of those. They're like we'll get to them later, but they're kind of like the Kings in the sense like they're going for a win now approach. Which when you look at their roster, it's like, oh okay, yeah, they can like they're definitely like a playoff team and stuff. But you have to just look at the caliber of the other teams that you're going up against. There's no chance the Celtics can win a 7-game series against like so many teams in the East right now.
Unless there's like a miracle or something. So yeah, I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
how does Derek White make them a win like the title contender? Not saying Derek White's bad; he's a great player. It's just like
It's like a good addition, but like
I know.
I don't know, man.
All right, so where do you guys want
I
to put the
don't know.
Celtics trade?
They made honestly, bro, with you. This doesn't do much. Doesn't
You
do
think
anything
it's
for me.
mid? I think it's pretty mid too, because they got a good player, but they got rid of just like so many things. And like
So
it's
many
not-
things.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it just doesn't. Like I feel like it doesn't further them towards like either extreme on like the spectrum. Like on the spectrum on the left, you'd have like trying to contend, win now. On the right, okay, we're rebuilding.
Yeah.
I feel like with this trade, they're still smack dab in the middle, trying to do two things. Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
It seems like a trade to make the team mid.
Exactly. They are exactly that mid. They're just middle of the pack and like everything. It's just
All
It
right.
seems like a
Fortunate.
trade a team like that would do.
Yeah. All right. So okay, yeah, I think the Celtics won't improve until they get like lucky with draft picks. So we're gonna move on now to the Clippers, which actually did a bit of a number, and the Clippers are just in such a weird spot, obviously because their two superstars are out. Obviously Kawhi's out he's been out for the whole year, and then I think our brother Paul George is actually. I have speculation he's gonna be out for the whole year. Even though the Clippers I think are still above the Lakers actually in the playoff hunt, surprisingly.
The depth, bro. The
so
depth.
this trade so far, maybe even out of all of it, might be one of the biggest fleeces. Just period.
You think this Clippers trade was one of the biggest fleeces?
It was just.
All right, so let me talk about it.
What
then.
were the Blazers thinking?
We'll get to the Blazers in a moment, but the Clippers basically got.
Wait, yeah.
Here's what the Clippers got. They got Norman Powell, which I feel like to a lot of people, he's not like a household name or anything, and a lot of people don't really
And he
know
could.
Norman Powell. He's been with. I knew him with Toronto obviously forever, but then he came because he was traded last year. He was only important for a year, and he was putting up numbers. Norman Powell has been a consistent 20 points per game scorer for like the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Like 18.
Yeah, he's like
17,
18. He's like
yeah.
8, but this season alone in Portland, 20.
Right now, in LA, is averaging 21.
Exactly. And well, it's only been a couple games, so well, I don't
3
really
games,
count.
but still.
But the whole
But
season,
I
this
still
whole
expect him
season,
to hold that up.
this whole season, he's been a 20 points per game scorer. And the Blazers, like the Clippers, well, some of the Clippers, they got him for basically nothing, in my opinion.
This is a fantastic trade for the Clippers. Robert Covington, fantastic role player. Norman Powell, great role player. This is like a this might be towards the higher end of role players.
Yeah.
And 18 points per game role player is extremely good. He's
Yeah.
obviously not gonna average 18 when Paul George and Kawhi is back,
Mm.
but he's still absolutely. What does he play? He plays.
so much depth.
He plays.
So the
He
freaking
plays a small
rotation
forward shooting guard.
Actually ridiculous.
Right. So I guess he could start with them, or he could be on the bench. Either way, he's such a punch, like just scoring wise. It's just fantastic. Like also, and Robert Covington obviously can shoot threes. It's even more range for LA. It's just
Yeah. And the thing I do want to point about is because we knew about Robert Covington because we had him in Houston and he was playing like that bigger man role and stuff like that. And he went to the Trailblazers like the other season. He was like whatever. This season he's actually having quite the. I'm not gonna lie. He's actually kind of having a down year right now. But I think that's just
Bit
because of
rough
what the
right now.
Blazers are like. How the Blazers are operating right now. It's just like really bad. So I think him actually going to the Clippers he's gonna see a boost in like playing time and numbers and stuff like that. So we'll hopefully see a more like normal Robert Covington. Rodney Hood used to be a really good player. He's just kind of getting passed around the league right now.
poor guy.
Yeah. Then we got our boy Semi Ojeleye. I don't even know how to say his name. And then we got this brother that was included in the trade. His name is Vanya Marinkovic, and he's never played in an NBA game. Yeah,
Bro,
so,
he's a hidden talent, bro.
yeah,
Hidden
I
talent.
guess. Whatever. So those are all the people the Clippers got. What the Clippers got rid of on paper might scare you, But if you look at what they're actually doing this season, I think it's a fantastic trade for the Clippers. They got rid of Serge Ibaka, which a lot of people, everyone loves Serge. I feel like Eric Congo, he's just such a lovable person, but he's not really doing anything this season. I feel like, and
Definitely
so, yeah.
not. He's playing pretty trash. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, and then you have Eric Bledsoe, who's been passed around like a blunt recently, because he's just, bro. That brother, I don't think people understand. Eric Bledsoe's contract is kind of fat for what Eric Bledsoe produces, so.
Oh yeah, no, he's such an overpay.
Yeah, so they got rid of Eric Bledsoe. They also got rid of Justice Winslow, who's, I don't know, I don't feel like he's never gotten into form. He's young. And then Keon Johnson, who was a rookie. They said the Clippers saw 19 games and said, nope, we're gone. He's gone. And then they got some other dude I never heard of, and then a future second rounder via Detroit. So I think this trade. I mean, what do you guys think? I want actually, Rohan, what do you think?
I think it's actually a massive improvement, though, on paper.
And then you're
yeah.
massive. My thing is, it's like massive improvement to me. It's weird because it's like where the Clippers are right now. Is Norman Powell and Robert Covington gonna make this team a playoff push team? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because Paul George and stuff is out, is trading away like the things like what they have right now. And then gaining is like Norman Powell is like their number 1 or 2 option right now. Gonna make them. Is that massive?
Yeah, that category, massive improvement, is completely relative. It is relative to what the team was before and what it like. Yeah, that's exactly what it's relative to what it was before.
Considering like the situation they're in right now,
because like
adding
team
more
like
players
LA,
wouldn't
a team that has 2 superstars,
that are good.
It depends on what you see Paul George as, but 2 like high up stars, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. There's nothing that team could realistically do to put them in massive improvement if you weren't looking at it relatively.
Yeah.
There's like nothing, because that's about as good as it gets. You have 2 stars, it doesn't get better than that, right? Unless they traded for like James Harden, I guess that doesn't work though.
I think the only thing to me is that it's just like the Clippers, like they have the guards, bro, and they have like the forwards. I don't understand why.
Depth now.
Bro, there's big man.
Depth.
Their starting big man has played 51 straight games. His name is freaking Zubac, bro.
Okay, listen.
Zubac has been there for a minute. I don't understand why they don't ever invest in a big.
The big man spot might be a little weak, but it's not even that big of a deal. Because every other position is so strong.
Yeah. Also, I love Reggie Jackson. That brother came out of retirement. He's been balling out for the Clippers. So.
Oh yeah, he has.
Yeah. So he's actually been really good. So, but actually, Norman Powell now on this team, with Paul George out, is the current like points per game leader on that squad. Because Paul George was averaging 24.7 a game this season, and then now he's out. And then, like what they had was Reggie Jackson was leading, but he only had 16.5. Now you got Norman Powell, who's a 21 points per game scorer this season. I'm fair. I'm fair to say it's a massive improvement for you guys. I'm fair.
Because
they also got Covington for the trade. So.
Don't forget Covington. He's having a down like stretch, but like
because he might not be like the number 1 option still on the team, obviously, but like. He's a solid like player that once the stars do eventually come back, he'll be able to like get into the system.
I feel like this team could just mesh really well. Like I feel like, dude, the Clippers are gonna be a serious threat when Y and PG come back.
See, as long as there's no injuries, the Clippers are a real team.
But yeah, definitely a massive improvement.
Okay, so we got the Clippers. We'll put the Clippers there. I mean, I thought it was more of like a top tier good, but I'll put it massive because obviously this is the majority here. What we're gonna go with now is we probably should we should have spent so much time on like a bunch of teams like we have been, I guess. We'll talk about the Blazers real quick, and this is so everyone knows how the Blazers have operated. It's kind of brazy. Let me just go through the details real quick.
Hold on. Let me go for this one. I'll describe it.
All right, word.
All right, so if you told someone that the Blazers were trading C.J. McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., Norman Powell, Robert Covington, Tony Snell, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Tomas Satoransky, what do you think they would have gotten back for trading all of that?
It's not exactly. It's for the big thing for me is that they just the names C.J. McCollum, who was their 9-year second-hand man forever, Norman Powell, and then you have the two little power forward role players in Nance and Covington. I would say they get at least some if they're going for a rebuild, then they get the good picks. If they're going for actual players, then they get actual players.
But they didn't do Like they
It's
they
kind of-
received a protected first, what, like 3 second rounders, and some role players. Like what?
Yeah.
That was this might be the one of the worst
Yeah,
trade
they kind
deadline
of
trades
just.
for a team I have seen like this is awful.
Yeah. We're putting them in the literal trolling. I think
Like,
it's
this
pretty
is god
unanimous.
awful.
Ron, what do you
Yeah,
think?
That's kind of a troll. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. Why would you? I mean, like, I feel like they just messed up their team a bit.
No way someone wasn't gonna give more for CJ. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
The hell is that?
I don't know. They got so just for the viewers, just so we can get everything on the record here. The Blazers got Josh Hart, who's actually literally the key piece in this. I actually quite like Josh Hart because I actually have him in fantasy. He's actually pretty good. He's actually having quite the up year. And it was crazy about me is you guys. I feel like I remember Josh Hart for being like that shooting guard role, that small forward role maybe sometimes. This season, I think for New Orleans, it has him playing as power forward at 6'5".
That is interesting.
But what's crazy
Very short power
is his
forward.
number. But his numbers this year, he's averaging 13 and a half a game, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists.
That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And he's shooting 50% from the floor.
All right, Coco.
No. But
You get
I'm not here to
for
defend the
trading
Blazers.
CJ McCollum.
I'm not here to
I know
defend
you're
the
not, but
Blazers.
still disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Josh Hart was good, but then they got obviously Eric Bledsoe's fat, ugly contract. Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, Didi Luzada, Elijah Hughes, and they got Joe Ingles, but he's never gonna wear a Blazers jersey, so don't worry. They got a NOLA protected first rounder for this season. They got a 2026 and a 2027 second round pick swap for the better pick, so they get better pick, but it's just 2 second rounders from NOLA, a Detroit second round in the future, and then another second rounder. So, but they got rid of McCollum,
I
Norm Powell.
can't tell if
They
they're
got rid
trying
of
to
they
rebuild
got
or
rid
not.
of 2 20 points per game consistently scorers, bolas, second or third options for Josh Hart. You know what I'm saying?
Impressive, man.
Come on now. All right, so we'll just move on from there. There's nothing really much to say.
Cleveland is.
We'll go to Cleveland. So
W.
this is the first. I feel like this is the first like kind of big media trade that's kind of happened. The ones we talked about, and they're Cleveland simple because it was actually just one trade. They didn't engage in multiple trades. It was just one trade. They got rid of Ricky Rubio, who was actually balling out for the Cavs this season. Before he tore his ACL, it was pretty tragic. They also traded away a lottery protected first rounder for this season and 2 second rounders via Houston and Utah for this season. And they got the boy Karis LeVert and a Miami Heat second rounder. So what do you guys think about this trade?
That's great. That's just great. Okay, CJ McCollum. Whoa. What am I talking about? Karis LeVert. He might not be like super young. I mean, he may not be as young as like that Cavs team. Like I guess their timetable. He's still decently young though, and he's a great player. Like I mean, he's averaged like 18 to 20 for like the past like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
More than that. He's just been balling out. Like I can't say anything besides that. He's just balling out. He's just been playing well.
Yeah, he's been averaging 18 to 20 points a game for the last 3 seasons.
I will say though, it is kind of a risky trade.
Why you say that, Rohan?
I don't like the picks more so that they traded away.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Oh, okay, let's take the picture protected though. The first round was protected, which is all that matters for Cleveland, which is
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. I just don't.
See,
I
but-
don't like the risky part of it.
But
But
you know my
it
thing
is
is that
good on
Rohan.
paper.
Like, here's my thing. They have Darius Garland, right? Let me just go over what they have right now. Okay, they have Garland, All-Star,
Mhm.
who's averaging 20 points and 8 assists a game. Okay.
Yeah.
They got Jared Allen, 16 points down low. Colin Sexton's out for the season. Evan Mobley is another big. They got that Twin Towers div down there, Mobley and Allen.
Mhm.
He's averaging 15 as well. They even got K Love still coming off the bench, averaging 14. Laurie Markkinen, who they picked up earlier.
Bench roll.
And so they got these like I feel like this Cavs team is so well blended that they just all I don't know, they all contribute.
clicks.
If you look, they click, right? But what do they need? I feel like, in my opinion, the Cavs need a purebred scorer shooter, and I feel like that's what they got out of Karis LeVert.
They have a really big team,
Well, that's probably
like height
true.
wise.
Yeah, they're a big team.
I think something more guard oriented, which they kind of have, but with Karis LeVert, I think it's great. It's exactly what they kind of needed. It's a massive improvement.
So Vibin's team massive. Rohan, what do you?
I would still give it a massive improvement
Okay,
though
then
for
I'll
what they
I'll
lost
just give
on
it to you
paper.
guys. I was thinking more of like a good, just because.
Actually, okay. Scale wise, they were already kind of doing well.
Exactly, but do you think Karis LeVert? Okay, so the thing with the Cavs, right? The Cavs were like they're like a top 4 seed, bro. Like they're dangerous right now.
They're
So the
Yeah.
but so because of where they're at, their expectation. What's the Cavs' expectation? Is it to win the finals?
No, not at all.
Okay, what's their expectation then?
Just like get in the playoffs, see what these
Conference
rookies can do.
finals. Conference
That's what it
finals.
is.
Okay, well,
Not even that, bro. I'd say just like a
well, if you think, okay, if that's what
second
you think
round in the playoffs.
okay, we'll say second round of the playoffs. Do you think adding Karis LeVert improves their chances greatly to make the second round of the playoffs?
Honestly, now that I think about it, I think they could have done it even without him. I'd say okay. I
Probably.
changed what I said to it's like a really high good improvement, but it's not massive.
That's what I think. I was actually team good. I won't lie to you. I think
It's still
a
great,
it's definitely a great
fantastic trade. It's
improvement,
just-
but it
I don't
can't
think
be
it's
it can't be massive.
I think the scale is just not there for it to be massive.
And then just for
improvement.
comparison, the only reason I think we have the Clippers above is because when you look at like the deadline, like the Cavs actually, it was like a fair trade. I feel like for the Cavs trade, like they gave up like good amount of picks for a good like player in Karis LeVert. The Clippers got good players for nobody.
Yeah, true. The Clippers didn't sacrifice at all.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's just like we have to just explain that so people understand. Like we're not saying the Clippers are better than the
Yeah,
Cavs.
this trade doesn't seem that one-sided
Yeah.
as the Clippers
Yeah, no,
one.
it's a very even, but I feel like the Cavs just got what they want out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say we can move on with that.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. We got the Indiana Pacers
God,
next, which is the first. We're gonna this is
I
a
have
real big one.
so
All right, and
much
so we'll
to
talk about
say
the
about
Pacers.
this.
Yes, I want to get Rohan's
Yeah.
opinion first because Rohan's been he's been on the quieter side, I will say. So let me just say what the Pacers did, and we'll take it off to Rohan. So here's what the Pacers got: Tyrese Halliburton, W; Buddy Hield sharpshooter, W; Tristan Thompson, who's not expected to play because he said he wanted to play for a contender, which I don't know what gives him the right to say that because he's a bum, but whatever. He's not expected to play. They got Jalen Smith, who's slept on. He's the goggles center from Phoenix. If you don't know who Jalen Smith is, I feel like he's actually not a bad talent. They got Ricky Rubio, who's obviously out for the whole season. They got the 2022 lottery protected from Cleveland, 2 second rounders that they got from Cleveland via Utah and Houston, and they also got a second rounder from Phoenix. Now, what did all of this cost? Because those are some good assets, I feel like. What did it cost? The Pacers have been wanting to blow it up. So here's what the Pacers got rid of. They got rid of all-star caliber Domantas Sabonis. They got rid of young blood shooter Karis LeVert. Justin Holiday, who's actually slept on. Jeremy Lamb, who's actually slept on. Both of those two are like that guard, maybe even 3 player, like that wing, like pretty good scorer at least, like a good role player. Torrey Craig, second rounder, another second rounder via Miami, and some cash. Rohan, take it away.
This is a really big trade.
It was multiple trades, I will say. It wasn't just one trade.
Well, yeah, no, but like it changed so much on their team.
Yes.
So yeah, they're definitely probably trying to rebuild with
Yes.
this trade.
Yes. So I know what I'm gonna
There's-
say. I'll say it later though.
There's no way around that. They probably could have gotten more. They probably could have gotten a lot more for what they traded. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, interesting.
I don't think. Oh. I feel like this trade is pretty bad.
Okay, we'll hand it to Vivian. So Rohan seemed bad. Vivian, let me hear it from you.
Definitely, I disagree with Rohan.
Okay.
It's a W for the Pacers. It's
Okay.
not like I don't think it's like a crazy huge massive W because it's like I think like, I think Rohan is underestimating the value of Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, I think Rohan just doesn't know about Tyrese Halliburton. As much
Tyrese
as-
Halliburton, Rohan,
Not quite.
is a pretty crazy prospect. Like
This is
he's
he's,
been
he's
balling
a
out,
second year
like,
player, Rohan. He's a second year.
he's been like I can give you the stats on Halliburton.
Hmm.
So Halliburton for like his previous like he hasn't played yet for the
yeah.
Pacers, but he won on the the Kings, he was doing 14.3 points per game, about 7.4 assists and about 4 rebounds, and he was shooting what 45% from the field, and he was playing 34 minutes a game.
And 41 from 3.
Oh, 41 for 3, that's
Yeah, that's not
fantastic.
bad.
And he's 21 years old. That's absolutely that's like nuts. I'll be real with you.
Yeah.
He's a very young player, and he has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Like he has a lot of potential. It's just I don't know. He's just great.
All right, so
There's
what
so
do
much
you
potential
so
there.
what do you think overall then, Vivian, about the Pacers?
I think for what they gave up, I said they were properly compensated. On the other side of the trade, no, but we'll deal with them later. I think for what they gave up, they got a solid amount back. I know Rohan sees like some Sabonis going away, which is huge. Don't get me wrong, but Sabonis is not that young anymore.
No, I was gonna say like as a
Well,
perspective from
actually-
like all
See,
of the
no, but
players they gave away.
Vivian, we'll talk about this later because I have strong opinions about Sabonis.
Sabonis is pretty young though. He's 25.
Yes, exactly. He's 25, and people forget that.
That's kind of a pretty big thing to give away, especially for a team in
Which is
rebuild.
it's weird to me. Yeah, they're like, you know what? We need to blow it up because they're not going anywhere. They got freaking young talent. They got Sabonis is 25, freaking LeVert is 27, and then freaking like what? Turner's like what? 26 or something. They got brothers. They got brothers in a prime or coming up on their prime, and they said, you know, we're gonna blow it up. Which I mean, I get it though. It's weird. It's weird that
I feel like they
get
could
it.
have. I don't know how to describe this. They were like in the stage of a rebuild where like they know that they have some talent on their hands, but like they realize the talent will never be enough to win a chip.
You know, because you have to understand with the Pacers. So they actually made from the stretch of the 2016 to 2020 playoffs. They made every single year. That's 5 straight years of playoffs. They lost in the first round every time.
Exactly. Like they got somewhere, but they were just mid.
Yeah, they were just above 5. They were like in that 500, just above the 600 range every single season. Last season
every
was their
season there were
first
these-
losing record season since 2014, 2015.
But yeah,
I
it
think- I
seems
think
like
we
an
also had a thing that
impulse
was, like-
trade then. Yeah, they kept on losing so much. They were like, you know what? We gotta change something.
That's the $1 Pacers tickets. That was
Yeah,
so
the
funny.
$1 Pacers. You can get a Pacers game for $1. Whatever. So okay, so Vipin, where would you say you'd put it right now?
Realistically, I'd say this is probably like obviously right now this is a downgrade. Long term though, I would still say this is. I'd say this is between downgrade and whatever. Like
Yeah.
Halliburton is great.
By the way, when I say like whatever could be just like an irrelevant trade, or it could be like a balanced
Like,
out mid
Yeah,
trade.
they didn't get fleeced or anything, but it's just
No, it was
like
not a fleece. It was not a fleece. I don't think it was the right move for them.
Yeah.
I would say this is like a
Yeah.
really high, and it's like barely a downgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I feel like
Yeah.
long term, I'm not exactly sure how good Halliburton's gonna be. Maybe he becomes a superstar and it was completely worth. Who knows? We don't know
Yeah.
that yet. But I'd say right now he's a high downgrade, in my opinion,
Yeah.
or the trade. Not,
All right, so here's my thoughts on it. I feel like for what, like if you just look at the names and you look at what they gave up, it's weird because it's like, okay, well they got rid of all-star caliber Sabonis, they got rid of LeVert, and then they got rid of a bunch of other pieces like some second rounders, whatever. And what they got back was basically just Tyrese, who's just a future prospect, and then like a shooter and Buddy Hield. But they said they were trying to see if they could trade Buddy Hield anyways, but obviously they didn't pan out. To me, though, it's for like what they were wanting. So, like, if you just look at this, I would agree with Rohan and say it's kind of a downgrade overall. But it's for like what they wanted. They
yeah,
wanted
if they
to
wanted
blow it
to
up.
rebuild, then they didn't do insanely bad.
Yeah. So you have to
like,
understand,
but-
when the Pacers said they were going to blow it up, nobody expected them to get a prospect or like a talent like Tyrese. Like that was 'cause people were hating on the Kings because I mean it makes sense, but like it's just weird.
I mean, if they wanted to rebuild, they didn't
Great
really get great
rebuild,
picks.
but I'm not sure if that prospect's gonna pan out as good as what they gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get any, amazing picks for the trade
Picks would
either,
have been nice. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
because the first round's protected, and then they got just 2 second rounds.
Okay. So I think for what they wanted, I'll just say it's kind of in the middle. I would say it's whatever. I would say it's just middle because they got rid of a bunch of things that I think are valuable still, but they got
I would
kind of
say
what they
it's-
wanted.
I would say it's a downgrade.
So Ron's downgrade, and Vivin, what do you think?
Downgrade.
Okay, well we'll put it in downgrade then.
Like,
'cause-
close,
it's like a high
pretty close,
downgrade, like
though.
a high. And not
Yeah,
like
it's pretty close.
I'm not saying high downgrade isn't like like a severe downgrade. I'm saying like it's close to the mid tier.
Mhm.
I just don't
Yeah.
think. I really do think they're the last tier.
That's crazy. You know, it's because I mean, I'm not gonna try to sway you guys, I guess, but I was actually leaning more towards good improvement than downgrade.
Really.
Yeah. I think it's just
I
for
mean,
what they
that's
wanted.
fine. Everyone's
Like,
got their own-
they wanted to blow it up, and no one expected them to get.
Yeah, you could be right, maybe. Who knows?
Well, it's
Yeah,
not
who
about
knows,
being
maybe
right. It's just
maybe-
opinion. But,
Maybe in like a 5 years from now, Halliburton's a superstar, best
yeah, I guess
was
I
he a
mean,
guard?
we'll see how it pans
guard in
out,
the league.
but-
Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.